How I became a better knitter using Ann Budd's spreadsheet knitting books. Hi, my name is Sue, and this is the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. So in 2016, I taught myself how to knit. I always wanted to learn how to knit. Technically, when you say, oh, I taught myself how to knit, no, I did not look at a book per se and teach myself how to knit. I learned from YouTube, and YouTube showed me, because I'm a visual learner, how to hold the needles, how to wrap the yarn, and all of that. As time went on, I started to pick up books. I found this one early on. It's a very good book. And the reason why I wanted to learn how to knit since I was a child was I wanted to make sweaters and socks. So there's a basic pattern for a top-down sock in this book. I really liked it. I wanted to learn how to knit socks. I said that to my knitting group. I was in, it was called Not Just Knitting. It met at the library. And I said to the ladies, I really want to know how to knit socks. And they went, oh, I don't know if you want to do that. And I said, I really do. So I bought some DPNs, and they were boy, and boy, were they bad. The ends were so jagged and sharp, they were unusable, and I was really disappointed that I wasted money on something like that. So then I went down to a local yarn store in the town next to mine, and so I found Knitter's Pride. Now, not everybody likes Knitter Pride needles because they have, excuse the crinkles, I'm trying to find one. I'm making a pair of socks right now. They have a flat, where is it? They have a flat tip versus a pointy tip. I like them. They work well with me for whatever reason. I enjoy them. So when I was in my knitting group, I started with this book, and I showed the ladies, oh look, they have a sock pattern, and if I had questions, they would answer. And then one day Anne brought in this book, and she said, just take a look at it. And so I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be perfect. I understood it. So I'm going to show you a different pattern because I have too many notes in this one. I have a ton of notes for my socks and whatnot. I don't want to give anything away from any of her books because, you know, that's not great. But essentially, okay, so essentially it looks complicated, but you just follow along, okay? So this is a sweater pattern. So up here you have the chest circumference, and on this side here you have stitches per inch. So you would do your gauge swatch. You can use any yarn, any thickness, any type of needle. The choices are unlimited. And then say, like with the socks, I have, should I show the socks? I should just show the socks because I'm working on socks right now and it's all very clear in my head. So, but I won't show you too much. I'll just show you the cast on part. So I'm going to do a size 9, and then I had 7 stitches per inch, so I cast it on 64. And then for me, these books, it's like a checkoff list. Bing, did that one. Bing, did that one. Instant gratification. So many things, you know, like you're now going to shape the crew neck. And I just lost a bunch of my notes. And then you just follow every little thing. And I use Post-its. I keep it all organized, so to speak, now that I dropped it all. But she also gives tips and tricks and a little bit of glossary, and she gives you different ways to do the hem. There are patterns in this book. So you can make your own patterns. I've not made a pattern from her per se, but I have used these to make, I figured it out. I made so far 2 cardigans. I'm on my 3rd. I made 2 drop shoulder sweaters. I have a V-neck and a crew neck, and I've done a bottom up seamless yoke. So I am on probably, I figured it out, I'm probably close to 10 pairs of socks. Now the first 2 pairs I used this book, and they're just like keepsakes now, because when I wear the socks, I have a pair of the ones that I made by Ann Bud on. Hello, socks. So these, when I wear my 2 first ones, the heel always goes on top of my foot. And that has always been a problem for me, even with commercial socks. I hate it. I don't like the way it feels. It bothers me nonstop, irritation. Also, commercial socks cut off the circulation right at my ankle, and I don't like that either. So I said, Anne, I really want to know how to make these, but I don't understand the heel flap and the turn heel and the gusset. It was not as clear as this book. So I have successfully made from this book alone at least 8 pairs. I have given 2 pairs to 2 different people, and they like them. One is a little bit too big, which I'm, kind of sad about, but maybe I'll just make another pair and, gift those instead. Hello, kitty. Come here. Oh, I have a kitty who wants to say hello. She says, oh, mama, you play with yarn, and I like yarn. Look at her. Oh, this is my fishing ball. So when she gets into some kind of situation where I don't want her to be in, I just put down this little bit, and then she comes out from the bed or from wherever. Hello. So presently I am making a pair of socks, size 9. I like using DPNs. I do not like using circular needles to make socks. She's looking at it. She's like, ooh, I like this. This is a discontinued yarn, Mani Petty by Lion Brand. It's okay. There's a lot of, how can I put it? There's thick parts. There's really thin parts. Will they last? Maybe, maybe not. So essentially, I'm trying to hide this from my cat, so I keep bringing it back in and out. So I made a 7.5-inch cuff. I like it that way because then I always turn my cuff down. That's what I do. So, and then here, I just did what she states to do in the pattern. It's just a slip stitch with the yarn in back, and follow the pattern. I'm not going to give all of it away, but at the bottom of the heel, and I've done this now with all the socks I make, not the first 2, but every one ever since then. I take an extra yarn left over from a different sock, and I just use double the amount of yarn just for the heel, because I wear my heels out so quickly. And then I stop. I know. Hello, baby. And then I stop. I don't want her to destroy it. Okay. So then I stop right after that, and then I pick up the gusset and say, like they say, well, pick up, this is not the actual pattern. Pick up 18 stitches for the gusset. Pick up 16 stitches for the gusset. So if it's, say it was 16, I picked up 20. Yes, hello. I picked up 20 because I need that extra width, and then that gives me a little bit more play in my ankle area, because I think I have thick ankles. I'm not sure, but that's maybe why the sock always turns on to the top. You want to get down now? Huh? No, you just want to sit here? That's fine. So, she's so cute. She's just so cute. All she wants to do is play with yarn. Why can't you let me play with yarn? So how did it make me a better knitter? Well, one, it taught me that I can mix and match. For example, I am making a cardigan out of fingering weight yarn. I am using the Knitter's Handybook of sweater patterns for that. It's a set and sleeve, and I am making it. Okay, I have all my notes here. I am making it with a bust circumference of 44, which is larger than my bust, but I want to, she's stealing yarn, but I want to be able to wear it over clothes. So I am making it out of fingering weight yarn. I'm almost done. I have all the pieces in my handy dandy bin. I'm not going to pull them all out because I have a sassy cat, but they're all here. I am working on my last sleeve. I decided a long time ago, probably after I did the bottom up yoke, that I'm not as long or tall as a size 44. So if I wanted to make a 42 or 44, I did make a mistake once and made a 46. And so I can just show you on this one. This is my very first cardigan I made using Ann Budd's book. Now, it is a set and sleeve. I made it out of acrylic. You probably can't even tell because it's gray, but I made it out of acrylic yarn. I did that on purpose. It was Lion Brand's Pound of Love in, I believe, elephant gray. I did it out of acrylic because I was so scared. I was so scared that I wouldn't be able to make a sweater. I thought I would fail, and I was so afraid of failing. And then I just finally said, you know what? Just make it out of acrylic. Then you're not wasting, say, $60, $70 on yarn to make a sweater. You are spending, you know, let's say I got it at cost at that time. It was probably 2018, 2019. Well, let's say 2019. So it's probably, let's say, $10 to $12, that big skein. And I thought, all right, $24 is better because I needed to. $24 is better than, you know, 60. So I made it. I decided I wanted to wear this around the house now. I made it really too big. It is a size 46 bust. Plus, did I do the gauge swatch right? I don't know. I probably did not. But I can wear this over a bunch of other clothing when it's cold, and it's perfect. I don't wear it outside the house. I wanted to make my sleeves end here so I could wash dishes without having to roll up my sleeves all the time. So I figured that out, which is really nice because she gives you the whole length of sleeve. But you can look and say, okay, well, since I only want to do half a sleeve, I could start it at this point and I would have this many stitches, and then, you know, you have to do a little bit of math and whatnot, and it worked out. So I knitted all the pieces. I was like so happy I did the sleeves right. I was like, oh my. And then it sat for probably 6 months waiting to be sewn up because, again, I was letting fear hold me back. And I thought, all right, so I read through all of her books. I have 3. I look back at Amazon. I also have this top-down sweaters. I look back at Amazon because I knew I got them from there, and I got them at it was Christmas Day 2018, and I had probably a gift card from Christmas, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy all 3. I don't know what the price I paid for them at that time, but I probably had enough to get them with a $50 gift card. You can buy these still on Amazon. However, they also have them on thrift books. I just looked at that last night. They're comparable price to them, and you can buy them in different states of condition. That's one good thing about thrift books. So I looked at her instructions. I read what she said how to do it. I looked at various patterns. I looked at various techniques, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna whip stitch it. At the time, I don't even think I knew that was a whip stitch, but I'm like, I'm just gonna connect them because I was so afraid I was going to fail that I wasn't even gonna try. And then I was making probably a sock, and I thought, why am I afraid to sew this up when I can do a Kitchener stitch? I can sew other things, and this is just around the house sweater. It's not, I have to wear this out in public sweater. So I bit the bullet and and I set the sleeve in. I think I did a really nice job. I mean, I was so scared. I was so scared. So I just matched the middle to the middle, or at least, as much of the middle as I could find the middle, and the side, the little bell shape. I met the sides to the side and the middle to the middle, and I just clipped it all, and I probably had about 50 little pins around holding it, and I sewed it. And then I thought, wow, I mean, are my seams perfect? Probably not. But it is my first sweater. And I was like, I made it. And then I realized I made it way too big. But I did the cuffs. I'm not cuffs, the hem. I did the button band. I did the crew neck. And it all worked. I mean, it all worked. Is it perfect? No. Did I have to do like 3 knit stitches at the end so it would look okay? Yeah, I think I did. Not this one, but this one. Did I have to pick up stitches more than once on this? Yeah. It was either too small or too wide, and you just have to kind of figure it out. I can't really say how to do it. You just have to do it. And that's what this taught me. This is what she taught me. You have to do it to figure it out. You have to do what you know and then build on what you know. So I was very thankful that Anne showed me this book. Anne showed me this book. And I was just like, I was so grateful. And I am presently, as I was stating, this is hot, so I'm going to take it off, making a cardigan. Now, I did the size 44, so I casted 154 stitches on the back. And it's different because I'm making a cardigan. Oops. My yarn thief is very close, and I have to be very careful. So I wanted wide set sleeves. So I casted on 122. That's a size 40-inch bust pattern because, like I stated before, I'm short. And I'm not so a 42 wouldn't fit the size for me. But I know a size 40 does through trial and error because I've made, I think 5 sweaters so far. 3 for me and 2 for my daughter. I made hers in the small and it fits perfectly. So this will give me a little bit of space to wear clothes underneath it. I want to wear this to work. I'm using fingering weight yarn by Knit Picks, palette twist in the color Briar, and it has 231 yards per 50-gram ball. I also learned about this place from Anne. She talked about Knit Picks, and I was like, Knit Picks? What's Knit Picks? And then I got online and I looked, and when I bought this I probably bought this in 2019. It's been a long time. It sat in my stash for quite a while, but I remember getting 10 skeins for $1.62 each. I was like, my gosh, it was on clearance at that time. They still have the color because I was nervous that I wouldn't have enough to finish this. So I bought 2 more skeins just when they were on sale for $2 each, just in case. You know, I mean, I can use them for something else, but I was just like, just in case, because what if? I'm knitting them on a 3, the markings have come off. These are Knitter Pride bamboo. I really like them, but they don't have the size here. So I'm pretty sure, according to my notes, they're a size US 3 needle, 3.25. I got 28 stitches per 35 rows, so essentially 7 stitches per inch, and that's how I'm following the pattern. So like I stated before, I'll re-show you. You find your size, whichever size you're working on. So say I'm doing sleeves, I'm going to follow this column, and then I look here at the stitches, and then I follow that corresponding number. Very simple. I love it. So I decided to do the size 40. I'm doing a straight arm. I casted on the hem. I used a US 2. And then for the body of the sleeve, I'm using a US 3. I am making my sleeves to be 16 inches and 16 and a quarter inches. And then the cap will be 6 inches. So far it's worked out perfectly because my arm from here to where I want it is 22 and a half inches. And so I'm working on it. It has taken forever. I have been probably working on this sweater for at least a year because it's going faster now because I want it done. But I put it off to the side because it's small and all I'm doing is back and forth, back and forth. And I have to look at it because the yarn will split because it's just it's a 2-ply yarn and it will split if I'm not paying attention. Now, December 15th, I finished all of my dishcloths. Little side note, I finished all of my dishcloths. Yay! I couldn't wait to be done. And I put them off to the side. I thought, I'm done. I'm so glad I'm done. I'll have enough time to weave in the ends, sew them up, wash them, dry them, wrap them into little packages, and then put a candy cane and give them away. So I decided to put a stitch marker right there on December 15th to show my progress. And now I haven't been working on it that much, you know, here and there. Like say it's late at night and I feel like, if I don't do a little bit of knitting or crochet before I go to bed, I can't settle my mind. So even doing like 2 rows, 4 rows, just a little bit, it all adds up. So that's where I stopped. Did I work on this last night? I think I did 2 rows last night. And I'm like, you know, that's not bad. That's probably about 4 inches since 2015, since December 15th. Now, I had planned to record during the last week of our school before we went on break, but then a few things popped up and I had to work late one day. Another day we had a staff meeting. It wasn't a fun staff meeting. It was learn how to evacuate the building staff meeting. And I have a lot of thoughts. I am not at liberty to say too much about my district that I work for. Essentially, we all have agreed, according to the superintendent, that we have signed an NDA. And so I'm not going to say too much, except that school should be a safe place. And we're making sure everything we do to make sure the kids are safe is important, deserves funding, and, you know, they are our future. Just think about that when you're in the nursing home and they're taking care of you. Do you want them well educated or do you not? That's what you want them kind people or do you want them not so kind? I've worked with a lot of people in life and you want people to be kind. So be kind. And then on top of those two things with working late and then, the staff meeting after school, I had a snow day and I woke up with laryngitis. I was talking too much. I was not feeling well and my voice just gave out on me. So we came back for the last day of school. I handed out all of my dishcloths. I brought extra because I wasn't 100% sure on all the last names because we had hired a lot of new people. And I'm so good because I didn't recognize someone's last name and I didn't put a dishcloth in there and she mentioned that she didn't receive one. And I said, "Oh, what's your," and I said, "Oh, I didn't put one in yours because I didn't know, I didn't recognize your name." So I ran and I brought her a dishcloth and I gave it to her. So essentially I don't have any more, but essentially I just folded them, rolled them up, put a candy cane in and tied it with some more cotton yarn. And then I gave a little note, "Merry Christmas," and I call myself Santa. I use my last name, and I just sprinkle them throughout the school or put them in the brown box. And then I had 6 left over, and I was standing in my workroom that I have all my stuff in my computer, and a retired teacher was there helping the students. So how can I put this? We have the store, the school store. I can't say the name of the school. I almost did. And the PTO puts it on where it's kind of like a thrift store. And so all the kids bring money to school, and things cost like a quarter or 50 cents or no more than $1. Or they can buy 3 things for $1 or, depending on which table they're at. It's so sweet. So you have all these kids coming down by the class looking for presents for their siblings or their parents or their grandparents, and they're so proud. It makes your heart just expand so much to see how excited. I'm 6 years old and I'm buying my mom this. It's just so sweet. So one of our teachers retired and I really, really liked her. She is so spicy and I really miss her. And they asked her, "Hey, could you help volunteer and do this?" And she said, "My pleasure." So she had her stuff in our workroom and we were, and I came in and I go, "Oh, perfect." And I went in my bag and I turned around and I gave her her present and she gave me a present. It was just so wonderful. So then I had 5 left over. I needed exactly 65 for my daughter's school and my school. And I surprised a friend with the remaining 5. And it felt so good to give a precious gift of my love to everyone. Okay, so dishcloths are done and I have none to show you because I got rid of every single one. And I am so happy I made 70. So now, let me start. I'm just looking at my notes here. So I thought about showing all the different sweaters I made through Ann Bud's book, and I don't want to do that right now because this is already almost 30 minutes long and I'm not done. So we are going to go on to works in progress. Now I'm probably going to use a bit of Ann Bud's book for this. This is technically a tank, but then I expanded it to be more like a slip, and I made it really big because I kind of want it like a dress, but to be worn under clothing. And I don't know. I have 2 pieces about the same size. This is Patons Linen. I don't know if they're still, my Joann's got rid of it, but I got the last time I was there was on clearance. And so it's Patons Linen, it's cotton, it's a mixture of cotton and linen. 60% cotton, 35%, wait, 65% cotton. I need my glasses on and I don't have them. And 35% linen. I really like it. I brought this up with me. We traveled for Christmas and I knitted this in the car. It was very nice. I was like back and forth. I didn't really have to look. I could just, do my thing. The yarn I really like. I'm using US size 6 needles on it. If I do make a tank, I'm debating now because my original plan was to make a tank, but long enough that I could wear underneath sweaters because I get hot and sometimes I don't want to wear a t-shirt. But now I'm debating, do I really want a tank or should I just figure out using one of these patterns what I have and to make it more into like a wide shirt? Do I add sleeves? So yeah, that's a work in progress. And then another thing I want to show, because I'm kind of really proud that I got so much done. Once I got my dishcloths done, I was like, I am not looking back. I am just doing and doing and doing. And I got to be really careful with this because someone is lurking about and she wants this so bad. I have to hide it from her. So this is my colorwork pattern. Oops. This is my colorwork sweater. I have this on I just put it on some stitch holders because I'm plain yarn chicken. Let's just be honest. I had 10 skeins of this, which should have been more than enough according to the pattern, but but I did not look at the pattern when I picked it up again. So I had it like this. So I had it working on some needles. This is the right sleeve. And I picked up more stitches than what the pattern called for. I wanted it a little bit looser under here, and I wasn't really sure that the amount of stitches would have been appropriate for me, given the yarn and whatever. So I picked up 24 stitches here. I don't know how many you're supposed to pick up, but I picked up 24, which then meant I had 92. In the size 7, it was like 96, so it's just under that, but it's more than the size 6, and I'm making the size 5. Bing, bang, boom. So I thought, whatever, and I wasn't even looking. So for the first 30 rows, I just knit straight. I started here on December 15th. Here's my stitch marker. Nice little green one. And then I figured out how big I want my cuff because you do a couple different decreases. So I figured out, well, at first I started decreasing 2 stitches every 5 rows. And I did that 3 times. And then I realized it's getting really long. I'm not going to have enough stitches to decrease for the amount of length I have. So then I started doing every 3 rows, and I'm keeping all the stitch markers here so that I can see that what I'm doing per the other side. But then I tried it on, and it was just a hair more. And I figured, well, if I decrease 26 stitches, then it'll match one of the sizes. And I have it written down, but I'm not going to look through it right now because it'd take too long. So then I started doing you do another set of decreases. So now I believe I'm at 54 stitches around, which is a good size for me. So I'm plain yarn chicken. I have 3 more of these left. 2 more full ones and this one I'm started. I still have the hem to do. So they do sell this color. I checked the website. I got it from Knit Picks. It's the wool of the Andes, worsted weight. There's 110 yards per 50 gram ball, and this is the color Cranberry. They still carry it And I figure even if it doesn't like technically dye lot match perfectly, it's on the hem. I want the sleeves and the cuff to be of this dye lot. And then if it works out where I have basically enough to finish everything, but not the very tippy tip, then I will debate, do I buy another skein of yarn or do I use the remaining cloud cream color for the very tip, which it might be nice. And I keep going back and forth because my original plan was to have just the yoke be color and the rest of it be solid. So I'm debating. And I'm doing. But I'm going to move my marker. I'm not going to move that. I want to show you the next time. I'll be like, I did this sleeve and the other sleeve. So, anywho, then I learned about Little Knits yarn, which is located in Seattle, from Anna from APT Atelier, and I just checked it out one day, and Anna knits with a lot of Lopi yarn, and I was really interested. I'm like, ooh, because my plan, since I started wanting to learn how to knit when I was a little kid, was to knit sweaters like this. You know, I'm going to show you the picture. This is my first sweater out of the Lopi. I'm using Alophus Lopi. I'm making this colorway. I started it. It's a bottom up yoke, which is handy because Ann Bud has a bottom up yoke, which I can reference. So I got the yarn was on sale and I got a really good deal. And I bought my sweater's quantity. And I mean, it's still not cheap. It's Icelandic wool. It's very hairy. Now, I just crinkled the bag. And I'm sorry, you only get to see one cat because the other cat is, well, she's sleeping over there. And my dog is sleeping on the couch and you can't see her because it's dark. But it smells sheepy. It's a hairy yarn. It is very prickly. My plan is not to wear it directly to my neck or to like my skin. However, they say the more you wear it, the softer it becomes. And also this yarn is known for its durability and warmth. And I would love to be able to walk my dog wearing a sweater instead of like a synthetic jacket. So I have started you can see that it's not fully connected. Why is it not fully connected? Oh, because it took me 7 times to cast on. The first 3 times I do a long tail cast on. I don't know really that many other cast ons, and I do like the long tail. I didn't have enough yarn. Frogged it 3 times. The 4th time, I had enough yarn. I didn't have too much, sitting there. I have a lot this time. And I thought, oh no, I twisted it. I know I twisted it. Oh, so I undid it. Not completely, but I undid it. So I'm counting that as 1 time. And then I redid it time 5. And then I twisted it. I was so mad. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh. So then I pulled it out and I cast it on again. And I was 10 stitches too few. So this is 156 stitches. So I pulled it out and I made sure I had way plenty enough. And you know what? This is like an homage to Anne podcast because Anne taught me this. Anne taught me a lot of things. I do miss my yarn group a lot. I'll get into it after this, but because I'm already at 40 minutes. This is I like to talk. So I'm making this bottom up. The colors are beautiful. It's only a 3-color work pattern. I like the yarn. It's bulky. Right now I'm using a size 8. The pattern called for a size 7 for the hem, but my 7s are being used on something else, and I thought it was too small. Otherwise, you use a size 10, US 10. So, quickly, I'm going to talk about why I'm not in my yarn group anymore. So, I started it in 2017. I remember it was May of 2017. It was right before school got let out. And then it was a lot of fun. From that group, I also started going to the senior center. It was called Happy Hookers. I think all senior centers are called Happy Hookers, which is really funny because there was a very pious woman that I worked with. She doesn't work at my school anymore. And I said, "Oh, you know what I'm doing after this shift?" And she goes, "What?" I go, "I'm going to the senior center for Happy Hookers." And she just, "Oh." I'm like, "It's knitting and crochet. It's at the senior center. What do you think they're doing over there?" Anyway, so I participated in it, and it was like every Wednesday. My job was, at that time, I was a noon hour monitor, and I got done with work at 12:30. The group started at 1 to 3. My daughter didn't get done with school until about 2:30ish, and so we figured out how to pick her up and whatever. And it was lovely. I learned so much. It was the best time. The one at the library, I wasn't the youngest. There was one gentleman. He was awesome. He had no fear. He taught me about no fear. Like, we're like, "How you just started knitting a year ago, and you're doing color work, and you're doing this, and you're doing." He's like, "Yeah, you just do it." like you ladies are too afraid. So I really enjoyed talking to him too. He was a nice young man. He was going to college, so he had to open his schedule. And then the next age up, she wasn't that much older than me, maybe 5 or so years. And I really liked her too. She substituted with the school district, so we had stuff in common. And it was a lot of fun. And that went very well. And then about 2019, I thought about this a lot. Like, how am I going to describe this person? This lady showed up, and she seemed the nicest and the sweetest. And oh, I'm so self-deprecating. Oh, blah blah. She was a huge narcissist. Oh, the group really went with her in it. And I tried just to get along, because I've worked in many bars and restaurants and many different situations, and sometimes people are just angry. And you just have to deal with it and just like whatever. But she was mean. She made everything about her, and it just the group wasn't as much fun. So then we all know what happened in 2020. So in the spring of 2020, my school shut down for the rest of the year. It was quite scary. Everyone was scared. We're still recovering. So literally, I mean, some kids during that time, they're still dealing with a lot. And behaviorals were just out of the water. So in 2020, school shut down, and we didn't meet until I think it was June, late June. And then we met at a local park. Outside, we sat distance with one another. We weren't too close to one another. Plus, you're outside with all the air. And then the two groups kind of merged into one, and it was more of the senior center versus the library. My two favorites, they just didn't want to be part of it. One, they both showed up, and they both politely bowed out. And I was talking to the young man, and he and I were discussing something, and then we overheard a different conversation, and we both looked at each other and went, "Ah, yeah, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna come back, not at all." Why? Because they were being racist bigots. You know, they don't think they're. I'm just gonna state, people from a certain generation know better, and they don't care. And if they have certain political affiliations, they believed at that time that it was okay for their hatred to come out. And, you know, I am a friend to LGBTQ. I don't care what color skin you have. I will tell, I don't know if I should even say this. There was a moment in time and I spoke the truth, and they did not like the truth at all. And I said, "How can you stand for immigrants and their children to be put in cages?" Well, I was the black sheep from then on. And then school started up again, and we closed. Now, during these times that we closed, I we all need money. So I first started working as a janitor back in spring of 2020, and I did 2 shifts, cleaning walls with a pine sol smelling um, cleaner, which was much more strong chemically and smell wise. And I didn't remember driving home either day. And I thought, yeah, it's not good for my brain. And then I had contacted HR, and they, through the loops, I found um, I found a way to earn money and increase my ability to work with the school district. So I started taking classes during the shutdowns. It was wonderful. I took classes. I had a head injury in 1994. I lost the ability to do math in my head. I've retaught myself, but then with these classes, I had to take math and English and all these other things, and so I got to remember things I learned from way back when. And then it was now 2021, and I really hadn't participated in these yarn groups anymore, these knitting groups, because timing, you know, this pandemic, all that stuff. So I remember going at Christmas, and it just wasn't the same, and it wasn't as much fun. And I remember thinking, well, this might be one of the last times I ever do it. We'll see. And then the following school year, so now we're in the fall of 2021, it's August actually, and I'm sitting there thinking, what am I doing with my life? I keep trying to get more hours. I keep getting raises. I get good raises. I'm very thankful for that. But I want more hours, and I keep hitting a wall, and I can't get further because at the time we didn't have a very nice principal. And I thought about this, like, what do I call him? And I'm gonna say what my grandma would say. He was a batrabahu. A batrabahu. Anyway, he approached me in the fall of 2021. He did not want to offer me this job, but his hands were tied. They couldn't hire another noon hour, and they needed me to be there. So he's like, think about it, double the hours. And I went, I'll do it. He's like, no, take some time and think about it. I said, there's nothing to think about. I will do it. So I had to take a typing test. I scored stellar. I had to take some other assessments that they make all new paras do. And I got a 90% and a 96%. And the 96% was on math. And I was like, yes. And when he saw that, he's like, oh. I'm like, he always thought I was stupid. So whatever. He's not there anymore. And I'm very thankful. So from that moment on, I wasn't able to participate in these yarn groups anymore because my schedule had changed, and now I work till the end of the day. And if they do meet, they probably still do. I don't know. They meet at 1 to 3, and I get done with work at 2:30, sometimes 3 o'clock. So that's how it goes. I am very thankful I got to say goodbye to Anne. She has moved out of the area. I think it was a couple summers ago. I don't remember. I think it was a couple summers ago, 2022. She invited us to go. I live across the street from a church, and they rent out rooms for people to gather and whatever. So the knitting group moved there because I think it was still like during the shutdowns with the senior center and the library. So they started meeting over there, and she invited me and my daughter, and so we went there. I didn't recognize anyone except for the really racist one, and I really did like her. I mean, I liked her. She liked dogs. Sometimes you overlook the racist parts of a person because, I don't know. It's hard. She was a very old woman. And then the narcissist was there. And the funny thing about her is that karma took care of it all. I didn't have to do anything. None of her cruelty towards me affected me. She somehow was scammed by someone pretending to be Amazon, and she gave him her bank information. So she was on the phone during this last knitting group that I attended, and she was so distraught, and she was crying, and they have all my information, and she was doing all this. And I thought, well, yeah, they target seniors. What are you going to do? Be smarter. Don't click the link. Seriously. If they say, answer this, say, I'm going to call them myself using the number I know. Okay? Don't use a link. Don't click on that link. Don't click on it at all. My job tests us all the time to see if we follow these, these bad emails. Okay? I even got one today that said someone logged in from New York on my payroll account, and I went, I mean, that was scary. That was a tough one, and I was like, for that moment I was like, oh, and then I went, you know what, I'm gonna see. So I clicked on the little thing that they taught us to do, and it said, you have successfully found, and then I put it into spam. So that's the story about my knitting groups. You can't change some old people, but hopefully the next generation of old people aren't as racist, and we can all just get along, because really, what's the point of life if we don't just get along? We all are the same. As I used to say in college, we all bleed red and all of our shit stinks. Sorry for being crass, but basically, we're no better than a dog, and a dog is no better than us. In fact, I wish I was a dog some days. Mine is sleeping on the couch and snoring away, and I love my cats, and I think they are just as special as anybody. I love my daughter, and she means everything to me. And when I'm at school, I know I'm not biologically related to any of these people, but they're my kids. They're my children. I want them to be successful in life. I want them to treat each other with kindness. I want them to go out in the world and say, this is how we should be, and not filled with hate, not filled with fear. So don't fear the knitting pattern. Sew it up. Just do it. If it's wrong, you can always take it out. On my V-neck sweater, I had to redo it 4 times. And after the 3rd time, I had sewed and done all the weaving in, and it just hit me right here. And I thought, I'm never going to wear this. And I bit the bullet, and I cut it off. I was so scared. And now it works. So, thank you so much for watching. This is almost an hour-long podcast. I don't know if I'm going to edit all of this out. We'll see how it goes. Have a good day. Take care and have fun. Bye-bye.